Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2015 Toyota Prius C, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Curt Class 1 trailer hitch receiver. So the very first thing I noticed about the hitch is the way it's going to look, and I think it looks pretty good on the back of the Prius C. For the most part, it's going to be completely hidden. You're really only going to see this receiver tube opening, so it's going to blend in nicely. And I kind of like the look of the reinforced collar as well. It kind of just gives it a more finished or complete look. So a lot of our Prius customers plan on using their hitch to haul around bike racks, and I think this should work out real well for that. It's going to give us some pretty good clearance, so the end of the receiver tube opening here is going to be just behind our bumper. That way it's going to give us the space we need for those folding accessories in particular. That way when we want to put them up in the stored position here, we're not going to have to worry about them contacting our bumper. And one of those bike racks I know works out real well with the Prius C is the Thule Helium. And that's really because it's made from aluminum, so it's really lightweight, it's not going to drag you down and affect your gas mileage. And it has a device where it keeps it nice and secure in the hitch, so you're not going to have to worry about it bouncing around and making a bunch of noise, especially at higher speeds. So since this is a Class 1 hitch, it's going to give us that 1¼ by 1¼ receiver tube opening. It's also going to have the standard 1/2-inch size pinhole. Now a pin and clip does not come included, but if you need one you can pick it up here at eTrailer. We are going to have some loop style safety chain openings here, which aren't huge, but they should give us enough space to use just about any size hook that we might have. Now as far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have a 200-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating. So that's going to be the amount of weight that's pushing down on the hitch. So that's good for those 1 and 2 bike racks, for example. As far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, it's going to be 2,000 pounds. That's going to be the amount of weight that's pulling on the hitch. So that's the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. Now I do always suggest it's never a bad idea just to grab your Prius C's owner's manual and make sure your Toyota can pull that much weight safely. Now let's go ahead and take a couple of measurements to find out which accessories will work out best. As far as the ground clearance goes, you go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening. That's going to be right at 11¼ of an inch. If we go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, that's going to be right at 4 inches. And you can use this measurement to figure out exactly if those folding accessories can indeed be stored in an upright position without contacting the bumper. So at the end of the day, a hitch you really can't go wrong with. Not only is it going to look good, but it's going to allow you to use those accessories and free up some space inside of your Prius C. Now as far as the installation goes, it's really not too bad, believe it or not. Really not a whole lot involved, and everything's pretty easy to get to. To begin our install, we're going to be underneath the back of our Prius, and first thing we're going to need to do is remove this little center panel here. So it's going to be held in place with 5 push pin style fasteners, and the way you're going to remove these is by using a flathead screwdriver. What you can do is kind of pry underneath the head of it, and that's going to work that fastener out. I will say if the fastener feels like it's getting stuck, you can continue with the flathead to get it out, or to make it easier you can use a trim panel tool like this. So that's how they get removed. So I'll do that same thing to get the other 4 fasteners out. So once we have them out, that panel will lower down and we can set it off to the side. We're also going to have to remove the push pin fasteners that's securing these little bumper tabs here. And so I'll just use that same method to get those removed as well. Now since we are going to have to loosen up the bolts that's holding on our bumper beam, I do suggest taking a jack or something like this to just kind of support that bumper while it's going to be loose. So here's the hardware that holds our bumper beam on. We're going to have 3 bolts, one here, here, and here. So I'm going to use a 12mm socket to get those removed. And from this point on, anything we do to this side of our Prius, we're also going to do on the other side because it'll be set up the same way. So we're actually going to be using those 3 holes as attachment points that will secure our hitch. So I do suggest, since these are threaded, to clean out those threads. So I just sprayed them down with some penetrating oil, and I'll take a little toothbrush there and just kind of work any of that dirt and debris out of our attachment points. But with that being said, the hardware that we're going to use to secure the hitch is going to be the same for all the attachment points. So once we have our hitch up, we're going to take a bolt and a conical tooth washer. I'm going to make sure that the teeth on the washer are going to face this way towards the hitch. So once the hitch is up, we'll use this hardware to secure it to the attachment points. So to get our hitch up in place, what you want to do, starting on the passenger side, is kind of work that hitch up and over your exhaust. Can be a little tricky, so just kind of be patient. Once we find that opening though, it'll kind of just fall right into place. You have to kind of pull down on the tailpipe a little bit. You want to be sure that the tabs here, you want to be sure that the hitch is resting behind them. We're just going to make sure our bumper beam's lined up, as well as the hitch. Then we're just going to take our bolt. We want to get at least one started on each side, hand tight, that way the hitch will support itself. Now that we have all of our hardware in place and hand tight, we can come back with a 13mm socket and snug it all down. And don't forget to come back with a torque wrench and tighten all the hardware down to the amount specified in our instructions. And don't forget to come back to your bumper tabs here, take your push-pin fastener and reinstall them to get those tabs secure. Now, as far as that little plastic center section panel we had here, we're not going to be reinstalling that, so that's one less thing you're going to have to worry about. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Curt Class 1 Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2015 Toyota Prius C.